With all the stuff that we do online, places like Google, Twitter, Facebook, tracking your activity, there are entities out there that are more or less aggregating this activity and defining a reputation for you. I don't want Google or Facebook defining me. Do you want your reputation shaped, or do you want to shape your reputation? A lot of those guys are not me. For years, I've been cultivating my own online reputation through my blog site. For the digital storytelling class that I teach, it's part of the process that we stress called a domain of one's own. Our students have to buy their own domain, set up a blog site, and in essence become their own sysadmin for their digital space. It's part of a larger concept framed by Gardner Campbell as a personal cyber infrastructure. Let him explain it.
This is what I use when I try to dream as big as I can. I try to think about helping students understand cyber infrastructure and how to build one for themselves, to be able to be architects of their own digital lives, which will mean as we go forward that they need to be worrying about the things that we worry about, but productively together, narrating, curating, sharing. This is a definition of cyber infrastructure from the American Council of Learned
What he is advocating is students managing their own online presence, managing their data, their own expression through blogs, setting up the tools they need to be their digital home. This does not preclude using other services, but stresses the importance of not being totally reliant on other services.
That's the sweet spot. It's not just the network, it's more specific than that, yet it's not so specific that it's simply the tool you use for a particular project or a domain. Something like an alphabet.
We don't just want to do a field of dreams approach. It cannot just be setting up the technology. It needs to be part of the entire learning process.
This won't work unless it's baked into the curriculum. I don't want you to think that what I'm proposing is that kids just get assigned these web spaces and that's it, and they will somehow magically, through tinkering, come up with good stuff. This would be an amazing meeting ground for digital experts in the discipline, librarians, advisors, student life people, ed tech folks, instructional designers. Can you imagine? My feeling is students would come in and their whole first year experience would be digital fluency by means of building out this personal cyber infrastructure, the first iteration of it. Then at the end of your first year, let's have a ceremony, let's have a party. Pick the domain that's going to be your domain for the next 3 years and, make a decision there. It's a little coming of age, whatever. It's an occasion. You got to have these rites of passage. But for that whole first year, they're thinking about narrating, curating, and sharing for the rest of their lives as learners. And I think it could be pretty neat.
And now for question number 3. Why or why not should you maintain your own personal cyber infrastructure? What does this really mean to you? It seems like a lot of work to do. Yet, we have first-year students getting this set up in the very first week of their courses. There's so many facets that we could look at this issue, but let's wrap up with something simple, something smaller. What does your avatar, your icon used in online spaces, really say about you? One colleague, a teacher, an online friend that I have met in person. Jabiz recently blogged some interesting thoughts after he changed his Twitter avatar to something that a lot of people said looked sinister and maybe kind of scary. But he has a very strong online persona and explains it rather well. Because this image, the look in the eye, the beard, the lighting, the mood, the tone is how I felt yesterday. It is a part of who I am at this time in my life. I have spent lots of energy creating authentic flashes of who I am to build my online persona. I am not a photoshopped headshot, all smiles and professional looking. No offense to those of you who use professional headshots. Sometimes I am a silly dad. Sometimes I am who you see above. I love seeing the various phases of who I have been, who I am, and who I might become, every time I see images of myself reflected back from the interwebs. And that is question 4. Who are we in this space where the online world is not distinctly separate, where they merge together, where the boundaries are not quite as clear? Augmented reality, virtual reality, reality, who knows where this will go? I am who I am here.
And here.
And these are all facets and combinations of my own self. What I'd like to hear is how you define, shape, and assert your own identities everywhere.